Hey everybody, I figured I'd try to make a recording of some of my stocks that I'm looking at for next week versus just posting them every time. Figured I'd give this a shot and we'll see how it goes this week. Maybe I can do this again next weekend. Uh, Looking at AT right here, it's got that VCP type of look to it. Um, Kind of a volatility compression pattern, they call it. Looking at the VWAP right here off the higher high, we get a close above it. Then we would look for it to push through this flag or descending trend line. Uh, I had mentioned it in the discussion on Saturday, and it came down close. Didn't quite make my alert and went up, and then now it's either going to come right here to this line. We may buy it off this lower VCP pattern, kind of a ascending trend line that looks to be taking shape, or we could buy it through the descending trend line on volume intraday. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. At that point, of course, it would be across the higher high VWAP, so put it in bullish contention. Next up, I'm looking at AEHR, semiconductor play. One of the things I learned about semiconductors recently that I've sort of observed is you got to buy them when nobody wants them. And it broke this ascending uh, triangle that we had talked about again on Saturday. I believe I mentioned that one. It obviously broke through and had pocket pivot volume in a negative way. And so it's coming down here now to the ERVWAP and that 50 EMA, which I like to play so much. It's a nice confluence. It's about to occur. Not haven't seen any kind of reversal volume yet, but we could see it sort of start to turn here and work its way back up. It can really move quickly, so it's important that you get in before the volume starts coming in too strong, or you'll get left behind. You'll have no edge. Um, Another one, IMCR. IMCR has kind of an ascending triangle look to it, but it's higher lows and and not quite a higher high yet. But I believe we're kind of wedging in here, so that's worth a look. Nice inside bar here, but then a little indecision. So it'll be interesting to see off of this area right here where it's basically starting to wedge off this ascending trend line. You can see the price all inside of this main bar right here. We're just going to kind of watch, see what happens. Of course, we'd like a nice tap right here off the trend line, um, but it has already sort of found support at that 20 EMA. And I usually find that sort of that last tap before it starts to work its way up, or it could fail the wedge. But we'll just look for intraday volume, play it through this wedge, and so you end up with sort of a wedge inside of a wedge, which is a nice position to be in if you can catch it on the way out of this wedge on volume. Uh, Mobley, kind of a popular semiconductor play right now. Uh, Mobley has MBLY, needs to cool off a little bit. That would be nice. I would expect it to come into this 10. Just looks like a typical stage two type of breakout. I know it's a young IPO, but just looking at it from purely the 1020 cloud, from what I've seen in the past, it looks like we're going to get like a touch right here on this 10. I doubt that it comes into the ER VWAP just because it's so strong. Although again, at this with this potential ascending trend line, we could see it come back in here. But I'm expecting more. I'm watching for volume to come in right here off this 10 20 cloud and see it move up. It just strikes me as a sort of a stage two type breakout. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed playing PI. This is one I mentioned last Saturday, and sure enough, I remember talking about the confluence of the 50 EMA, the ERV WAP, and the support line. How it looked so good, but it had earnings coming up, and of course, it did come in. It would have made a really nice day trade. I didn't play it, but I mean, you talk about 11% going into the earnings afterwards. I mean, that was a really nice play if you did take it. And then now we finding support again right there, the worry is that the ER response was not the greatest. I mean, you're talking about a distribution volume right here, so that could easily fall back, and then I'd look for it to get into this base. And usually, once they enter into that base, they go all the way to the bottom of it. So I'm kind of holding off on that for now, but just something to watch. Perhaps as they digest, and I learned this from Yonezu, as they digest and talk about the earnings, companies may find things in those reports that they are of interest, and they'll start to drive it back up. So I just kind of watch it, see what it does. Um, Another one is PARR. This is an oil play. Love the oils right now. Everybody does. I missed the run up. I was a day early and got upset, so I knew I was upset, so I didn't try to chase them at all. But we're at a point now where like PARR has closed above the pivot line, just slightly above the pivot line. Hasn't been discussed much on FinTwit, which I like. Um, this is nice volume here and here, and obviously right here there was something came out of notice, and it got pretty nice volume. But it's just I like the way it's so clean. If we see oil not continue to go up, then we may get a nice pullback right here. I would expect it. Looking at it, I mean, I could see it closing above somewhere in here, come back, retest the pivot line, and then continue up. GGLS, PGLS. I like this play. It's just a nice range play. It looks like it's settling back on the flag. You get an opportunity right here off that 3260 level, and then enter where we could ride sort of not a cheap pivot, but almost, if you will, a cheap off the base, and ride it through this flag line that's developing. You got nice three touches right there. So I could see getting in here and then riding in a few days and taking it through the flag. Used to be very popular with the IBD guys. It's waned in the past few weeks on their posting. FTI. Um, FTI is one that I missed off the range here. I had it ready to go and I didn't trade it, and I wish I had. I would look right here for some type of rejection, come back down, just bounce, and we just play this range here. I like it because the range is a nice 7.5%, 8%. So, you get in there, you're leading up to earnings potentially. You could be able to ride it into earnings if you were up 7%, but usually we see that little pullback. It'll end up somewhere around right here, and you'll have to get out. So it's just a nice 7% play. I'm looking to take over the next couple of days as it falls back into this range. That's all I got. Hope it helps. Good luck this week, everybody.